Okay, so Chainsaw Man Episode 8 is quite honestly the biggest episode to date, with incredible action set pieces, the introduction of the Katana Devil, or rather, Katana Man, and of course, the death of Makima and Himeno. So let's break down Episode 8, which covers chapters 22 through the halfway point of chapter 25. Now, the opening moments with Himeno makes you appreciate the time spent with her doing mundane tasks and eerily contrasts the craziness that ensues in the second half of the episode. Strangely, I know people will joke or laugh onto the idea of Himeno seducing Denji because it's thrown in front of our faces literally, but the bigger takeaway you should try to understand with her character is that Himeno loses herself in alcohol, perhaps even extracting more of a carefree life, because when you strip those things from her, her 9 to 5 is that of a devil hunter after all, which demands more of a calm, disciplined role. Think about it for a minute. Most of her flashback scenes we've experienced with her and Aki during the Eternity Devil arc showcase how much she has lost over the years, her previous partners, being very close with losing someone she truly appreciates and now wants to spend the rest of her life with Aki, but being reminded through that flashback and now being reinforced in this episode tragically that the lifespan of a devil hunter is cut real short. So despite getting paid handsomely for being a devil hunter, I mean sheesh, can you look at her condo? Psychologically, how mentally sane can one be over time, living to be around losing loved ones on a concurrent basis? I'm not defending her spontaneous flaws of rainbow kissing Denji or trying to drown herself in booze, but when you put into perspective what Himeno has personally experienced, the scene between her and Denji befriending each other to get with their respective love interests in Makima and Aki really does become tender and sadly tragic, knowing what happens to her in the end. Now, while Makima is away in Kyoto to talk with the higher-ups in Devil Hunter HQ, she gets taken out by a mysterious group, but if there's any indication on who it may be, it could be people working for the Gun Devil, as the man who converses with Aki's group in the restaurant mentions. Speaking of, the same man shows a picture of the old man Yakuza Denji has taken out in the beginning of episode 1. Whether this man and the Yakuza leader are related will be answered later on, but given his tone, his attack and hatred for Denji seems pretty strong. Although Denji is out of commission for the rest of the episode hereafter, Himeno is heavily injured. Aki asks for power to help her, but when she responds that she actually needs medical attention, the shot by this Katana Man was more severe than initially realized, which is why I believe Himeno ultimately sacrificed herself to her ghost devil to protect Aki, because her wound was fatal enough that she herself personally must have thought wouldn't survive that much longer anyway. I feel like no one ever really talks about how cool the fox devil is, but this entire scene of Aki saying Kon to summon the fox devil looked fantastic. This thing has like 8 Renegons, but sadly wasn't strong enough to hold off this Katana Man. Interesting key detail to discuss before being sliced in half. Fox devil mentions to Aki that who she swallowed whole isn't a human nor a devil. This subtle line will come back in later episodes, revealing the identity of why this Katana Man is powerful, but not only that, the reason people are pursuing Denji's heart. Here's when the real action of the episode takes full throttle, and this battle between Aki and Katana Man looked fantastic. Aki finally using the needle sword Himeno warned him and us about during the Eternity Devil arc will have major drawbacks revealed in the upcoming episode. But for now, the Cursed Devil is one of the most powerful devils within all of Chainsaw Man, presumably one-shotting or defeating any enemies it can grab a hold of. I know ironically that doesn't mean much considering he was revived shortly after, but I digress. I heard several complaints about the CG here, and this argument on whether or not it looks bad is completely subjective, but personally, just because you may notice something is CG doesn't make it inherently bad, as some of you obnoxiously love to point out that it is. Clearly, many of you have never seen an episode of X-Arm before if you think the Cursed Devil is quote-unquote bad CG. Considering the set pieces that matter and what's actually drawn in this episode, CG Cursed Devil is the least of my worries and gets the point across with no complaints in my book. Now, what thoroughly shines is the sound effects when Aki pierced Katana Man when using the Cursed Devil. In addition, the Cursed Devil also sounding very hauntingly creepy as well, which is a nice touch, and the VA performance of Aki set the tone perfectly in the do or die situation he was pressed against with Katana Man. Aki thinking he has won is sadly mistaken when the mysterious woman with blonde hair revives Katana Man. It's not stated in this episode, but just know when Katana Man crouches down like this, he is setting up for his special move, Sword Draw Dash. I couldn't help but geek out when they really captured one of my all-time favorite panels in Chainsaw Man coming to life, and I think they knocked it out of the park right here. Coming towards the shocking minutes of episode 8 is when Himeno ultimately chooses to give up her life in exchange to protect Aki's. Even if Aki presents himself in a stoic demeanor, deep down Himeno reveals that Aki not only cares, but will cry more mourning over the people he cares about, which this set piece is incredible, with the Ghost Devil slowly unraveling its many hands, transforming into its giant form to attack Katana Man. And despite Katana Man being a capable fighter, seeing him struggle at the army of hands swarming him showcase what one's own life force or sacrifice can do to beef up the attack of a devil someone is contracted with. Himeno losing her arm and the rest of her body piece by piece was difficult to watch, and you can see in her final moments to protect Aki, her resolve was absolutely impeccable. Unfortunately, Katana Man is saved yet again by the blonde-haired woman who has a contract with the Snake Devil, devouring the ghost in two. Aki slowly looms over to see where Himeno was, only to find out that her clothes simply remained. This moment in Chainsaw Man solidified to me that no one is safe in this universe, and keep in mind the statistic that was discussed in the restaurant last episode of the expectancy of a devil hunter, because it's only going to rise after this. If you guys want to learn more about Katana Man, you can click here, but if you are curious to learn more about the Cursed Devil, you can also click right here.